And that's exactly the same. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly the same as how so many of us approach this business. No, it was for us. Or the other approach is this. At the end of the month, there's two approaches. At the end of the month, the last day, we try and cram it all in the last day. A little bit like when we did our revisions at school for our exams. We did all our revising on the very last evening. And so many times we try and cram it all into the last day. Then at the end of the month, sometimes we don't hit our goal. Sometimes we do. But sometimes we don't quite hit our goal. Because if we hit our goals on a monthly cycle over the next 60 months, we know that's how we're going to achieve our dream. So if we don't hit our goal, what do we then do? We then start blaming our one downline for not doing enough PV. If they had been more motivated, we would have hit our goal. That's the sort of thing that we did. And I can remember when Pat Gregory used to come and do plans with us. We used to sit there on the sofa thinking, Pat's going to be here in half an hour's time, but we haven't got any people. But then the truth of the matter was, we hadn't tried very hard. Then Pat would be getting there 10 to 8, or it was 10 to 8, and Pat would be due in 10 minutes. Then I had to suddenly think of a reason why we didn't have any people. Now, the reality of the reason was this. Pat had travelled 2 hours down, 2 hours home, 2 hours with us. He was investing 6 hours into our business. When you think about it, the least Ruth and myself could have done was invest the same sort of 6 hours of commitment in doing something to help ourselves. But see, what we found in the early days was this. We found we used to spend about 10 minutes on fighting to Pat Gregory's 6 hours. But see, we've got to justify it in our own minds. And Pat would walk in the door and I'd suddenly think, what could be a good excuse for tonight? And some nights I would try this one. I'd say, God, Pat, I'm really down tonight. Then Pat would feel sorry for me and beat me back up again. Or sometimes Pat would come and I'd say, go, and then I would do this. And tell me if you've ever been guilty of doing the same. We use the excuse from the last person that we've spoken with and use that for everyone. Like the last person I spoke with on the phone when I spoke to Pat, the person actually said to me, I'm not interested. So then Pat would come in the door and say, any people? No one's interested, Pat. And you see, all I'd done was made the one phone call. And we used to come to functions like this. And we used to come along to the functions. And we used to walk in, smiling with our Amway smiles. and we used to have every justification in the world why things weren't going the way we wanted to. Now, we would walk in the same as some of you have walked in today. Walk in and someone would say, hi, how you doing? And we'd put on the old Amway smile. And we'd shake hands and say, we're doing great. In the back of our minds, a little voice would say, well, you ain't done anything all week. And then we'd sit down in the function, we'd take notes and scribble away, and then we'd go out and we'd get all excited. This is it, we're going to do it. And then we'd get home and we'd switch on the old CFAX, what time's Coronation Street on? And then we'd come back the following month, we'd walk in with the old Amway smile again, with every justification. Well, we should be moving on a little bit quicker, but we got our own challenges at the moment. And do you know our challenges? The challenges that were holding us back for so long was we knew in our own minds the reasons why, despite the justifications for their own lack of our own success, the reasons why we weren't moving on at the speed that we really wanted to, because we weren't ringing people off of our list that we class as our chicken list. We had people that took a little bit of confidence to pick up the phone. It was really easy to pick up Auntie Olive and invite her around. But when it came to the local branch manager or the local businessman of our area, it was a little bit difficult. And hence, that's the reason we need to set the goals. You see, we need to set monthly goals with our upline to see, first of all, what is our goal for this month? And then to find out exactly what needs to be done, exactly what needs to be done. And then we need to review every single month, review the structure of our business. You know, Pat Gregory used to say to me, no, I'll get to that in a minute, but review the structure of our business. Review the commitment. You know, I thought we had a committed couple of people. Now, we brought them to every function for a whole year. We paid for their tickets, but they still came. And we thought we had a committed couple. Plus, we drove them there. And then we drove them home again. Then we walked their dog. And then we sit down with Then we sit down with our upline, then we'd review our numbers. How many people are treating this as a business? How many people are seriously looking to put this business together? And you see, what I'm saying to you today is this. If you're seriously looking to build this business and looking to put this thing together, if you want the long-term dream, if you want 5 years down the road, every single bit of success that you've heard and seen about so far, then what I would highly recommend, because it totally changed our business, you need to grab the leader in your group, grab him by the throat, and tell him that you're serious about putting this business together, and then you need to find out what you need to do in order to hit your goal this month. You see, so many people are saying, well, what do I need to do to be helped? Well, the saying is this: the wheel that squeaks the loudest gets the most grease. You seek out your upline direct. You seek out your leader and sit him down and ask him exactly what you need to do to hit your goal this month, to be on track for 60 months' time, where you can choose financial freedom, where you can choose to change the property that you're living in, where you can do the things that you want to do, the things that you call now your dreams. What you need to do this month in order to achieve your dreams 5 years from now. And it's as simple as that. And that's how we've built our business. We don't take any credit. We have sat down with Pat and Greta every single month for the last 5 years. Having said that, we've been in the business for 8 years, so we can talk with experience about this. But for the last 5 years, we have sat down with Pat Gregory, and we would say this: this is what we want to do this month. Now you tell me what I've got to do. This is the level that we want to achieve. This is the goal that we're going to hit. Can you tell me what work I need to do? And we would match that goal with a dream. It's the same old saying: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you build this business to financial freedom? You build it 1 month at a time over the next 60 months. I don't know about any of you, but does anyone in here like driving? Did anyone get in this business and think, great, we can start driving the car now? See, I'm not very keen on driving, and we spoke at Preston last month, and I looked at the map and I looked at where we lived in Somerset, and I thought, blimmin' heck, Preston's halfway up the country. I thought, that's miles and miles away. But see, we jumped in our car, and then we thought this: instead of just thinking of the whole journey, and I don't know if you've ever done this, we broke it down into service stations. The first one we drove to was Brentnall. We thought, Brentnall, we've hit our first goal. Right, Gordano. And then we looked at our watch, and Gordano was another 30 miles away, and if we averaged at 90 miles an hour, we would... we would get there in approximately 20 minutes. And Gordano was our next goal for the long journey. Anyway, travelling up between Brentnall and Gordano, all of a sudden the police car pulled up behind us. And we pulled over and we lost 10 minutes. So what? We just reviewed it. Right, we're here. We're 10 minutes away from Gordano's. If we go at this speed, this is the goal. And we drove the journey all the way to Preston like that. And we started to get real excited once we got past Manchester, because there were a service station every 10 miles. And we thought we were really doing good. And do you know, when we got to Preston, we walked in as fresh as daisies, because we didn't see the overall journey. We didn't look at the mileage that we had to drive. We broke it down into service stations. And then we said, look, we're speaking at Portsmouth today. There are no service stations from our place to here. So we've done it on little chefs. So we've got to set our goals, but we've got to allow flexible planning. You see, there's no such things as winners or losers in this business. If you don't hit your goal, it's not that you're a loser. There are no such things as winners or losers in this business. If you've done the best that you possibly can, then you're a winner anyway. And the philosophy that we were taught was, if you shoot for the moon, you'll end up amongst the stars. And I got to be honest, in the early days when we were sitting down with Pat and Greta, now I don't know if you can relate to this, but what we found was this. And tell me this: our upline are always telling us to do stuff we don't want to do. Has anyone noticed that? Now, we used to sit down with Pat, and we'd had our pen poised and our notepads open, and Pat would say, go here. Right, yes, Pat. Do this. Yes, Pat. Get width. Oh, blinking heck, Pat. Our one couple, they've been in for a year now. They bought their own tickets this month. They're going to explode. We're going to need all the time that we can in order to help our one couple. And you see, we wanted the dream. We wanted the dream, but we didn't want to do the work. And we couldn't understand that why our upline and your upline are always telling us to do stuff that we didn't want to do. And it's the same principle as like going out tomorrow, buying a whole load of exercise equipment, sticking it in your front room, removing all the furniture, sticking it in your front room, and then getting a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, sticking it up on the wall. Then every single morning, walk in, look at the equipment, look at Arnie, and then turn around and walk out again. And I say to Ruth on the way home, God, we had a great time with Pat, but I think he's trying to change me. I wonder why that is. And then I worked it out. I was 23 years old when we saw this business. We'd been in it for 2 years and nothing really happened, and I'll tell you why. Because for 25 years I'd done things my way. By doing things my way, I was still broke in debt looking to move on. I needed to change my way of thinking. We need to adopt the millionaire mentality. And I read a quote in a book, and it says this, and this is a very recent book. It says, if you continue to think like you've always thought, you'll always get what you've always got. And then all of a sudden the penny dropped with us. The penny dropped. I suddenly realised this. You see, the people that are helping us have got a vested interest. The only way people can succeed is through helping other people succeed. And the reason why Pat and Greta were saying the things they said to us, because that is what they did to get what they got. And that's what we wanted. Now think about that. The reason Pat and Greta were telling us to do the things that we had to do, because that was what they'd done to get what they got. And that's what we wanted. And that's when we get so excited, and you should too, because the more that your leaders achieve out of this business. Now, the first time Pat bought his new Jag, I was so excited, jumping for joy. That when Pat moved houses, and when all of our leaders move on, we should get so excited about that. Sometimes, in the early days, we'd get jealous. But we've got to get excited about that. And I'll tell you the reason very simply. We've got to get excited because the more our leaders move on, that is hanging a sign out for us. That is hanging a big sign out saying, if you do the same things that what we've done, this is what's there for you. And furthermore, if you sit down with us every single month, we're going to tell you what we did in order for us to get that. And you take Bernie and Janet D'Souza. They were in the business. They went diamond after 4.5 years. And I thought about it. I thought, we've been in longer than them. And I thought, we need to learn a lot from Bernie and Janet. And every time we're around Bernie and Janet, we're learning, what did you do to build the business so fast? And then we saw an Amagram recently with their lifestyle, their homes and all that stuff. And we looked at that and thought, oh, what did they do? And I've been doing a little bit of investigating. I wanted to know, how did Bernie and Janet D'Souza go diamond in 4.5 years when we've been in the business for 8 years? And I found out something. Now think about this. Bernie and Janet used to sit down with Jerry and Mandy Scriven, and Bernie and Jerry used to say to Bernie, in order to hit your long-term goal, if you do this month, you'll be on track. Bernie used to go away 2 to 3 days later, he'd ring up Jerry and say, I've done it, Jerry. Blind faith. He built the business on blind faith. And that is why they are where they are today so fast. They did everything on blind faith. Can you imagine Jerry Scriven hypothetically saying to Bernie D'Souza, you need to get some more wit this month, Bernie. Can you imagine Bernie at the end of the month saying, oh, I've had a tough month, Jerry. We didn't get any in. Bernie applied the thought process this. If it takes this much effort to get this much results, and then we don't get the results, we simply increase the effort. Can you imagine Diamond Directs, Dave and Denise Butler, sitting down with Jerry and Mandy Scriven? Can you imagine them Dave Butler saying, well, hang on a minute, Jerry. That's an hour and a half away. Now, does that sound ridiculous or not? And I think, how many times have I said to Pat, well, hang on a minute, Pat, that's an hour and a half away. Hang on a minute, Pat, don't you realise that I still work now? Hang on a minute, Pat, do you think I'll be tired? Now, can you imagine any of the successful people in the business today saying those things or even thinking those things? Can you imagine, do you think Pat and Greta Gregory and Jerry and Mandy Scriven are walking around now, naively walking around saying this, I can't believe it? Can you imagine Pat Gregory and Jerry Scriven walking around saying, I can't believe that? Can you imagine them saying, cool, we never thought it would grow like this? Can you imagine them saying that? You see, of course not. We were being told about the growth that we've got today 5 years ago. We were told these things 5 years ago, and that's why it's happened. And the reason things are today is a result of Pat and Greta, Jerry Mandy Scriven's vision for the future with his business. It's due to their unshakable belief in hitting their goals plus helping many other people. And it's because of a total commitment to achieve them. And see, it was their mental approach to this business. When it's a very small business, they treated it as a big business. And that's the same sort of mentality and the same sort of approach that we need to adopt with our business. We need to see this thing big down the road. If we see this thing big, we'll start treating this thing big. And the posture and the conviction that we need to put this thing together will automatically come. When Ruth and myself hit the 9% level for the first time, we were at a planned training. And Jerry Scriven was there and he put his hand out. He says, congratulations. He said, you've gone 9%. He said, if I give you a bit of advice, he said, your next short-term goal after 9% should be Pearl. And I looked at Ruth, and Ruth looked at me, and we walked out. And I said to Ruth, I said, I'm going to give Pat a phone. And I said to Pat Gregor, I said, listen, Pat, we've just been speaking with Jerry. You know, we just gone 9%. He said our next short-term goal should be Pearl. And Pat said, I've been trying to tell you that for ages. And he said, let me explain it like this. He said, if you can learn the basic fundamentals on how to go 9%, which most people do in their first couple of months, if you can go 9%, you automatically qualify for the 9% information. You qualify for the leadership information at the various different 9% meetings. But listen to this. If you can go 9%, how have you done that? It's a result of helping some people start their business. A lot of you got recognized today at the 9% level. If you can go 9% with the extra information at the leadership level, then think about this. If you can go 9%, then you can teach and help people go 9%. And if you can teach and help people that you've got in your network at the 9% level build their business at the 9% level, then you're in a position to teach them, to teach the people that they've got in their network to go 9%. And if you look at it like that, if you can go 9%, you can help people go 9% level. You can teach people to teach people go 9%. If you can help enough people to go 9%, you're going to go direct. And if you can help 3 or 4 groups get to the 9% level and teach that philosophy. And that was why Jerry Scriven said to us, and he was so right so many years ago, if you can hit the 9% level, your short-term goal should be Pearl Direct. And when you look at it like that, by breaking it down, it's not that far away. So that's the type of mental approach that we need with our business. But I'd like to take a break from my voice. I'd like you to help me welcome Ruth.
Well, it's quite incredible when you start to think about all of the different professions and different occupations that are represented here at this function today and represented across all of the functions in the UK and parts of Europe now each month, which really highlights one of the most appealing attractions of this business and why this business gives so many people so much hope. Because it doesn't matter who you are or what your present circumstances are. It doesn't matter whether you're professional or whether you're a non-professional. You know, each and every one of you have in your hands a proven vehicle for success to take you to whatever level of success that you're looking to achieve. And we know that sometimes those bigger ticket items that we look to achieve seem hard to comprehend. They seem almost unachievable. And the most profound fact is that we're all human beings. And human beings have the wonderful capacity to learn from other people's experiences. You know, you don't have to go through something in order to learn about it and learn from that experience. And that's why the system that we have available to us is so valuable, because we've all got 30 years of other people's experiences that we can learn from. And if we copy everything that our successful role models have done right, then the level of success that we're looking to achieve will really be dependent on how long we're prepared to copy. And dreams will always become a reality to those who have great leaders to follow and great leaders to learn from. And we have the greatest of leaders, there's no question about that, with Joey, Mandy and Pat and Greta, who guide us all across the proven pathway to success. You know, they're individuals who stand for success as a whole. They're individuals who have set aside their own needs for the needs of other people. And having that uncommon willingness to help and encourage more and more individuals richly benefit from that time, that priceless time input that they're always willing to give. You know, they help each and every one of us harvest the wisdom that's learned from every experience, and therefore benefiting our lives because we're then in a position to help and encourage other people. You know, it'd be crazy to attempt to be your own doctor. You know, if an unhealthy, an unhealthy ailment was discovered, it should be treated by the man or the woman who has dedicated his life to save lives. You know, your doctor. And the same can be said in this business, really. It would be equally as crazy to attempt to build this business without utilising a proven system.